What's up, party people?
Why did you put your hand up?
I was trying something different because I couldn't go as loud as Jara usually goes, so I just thought
Wave your hands.
energy.
Makes you louder.
Yeah, as you can see, we're trying something different today. From the setup to the sitting position, and the person doing the intro.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed our last episode with Helen where we talked about small businesses.
Yep.
Okay, not we, the rest did. But I'm back. I am back.
Nick is back.
All right.
Every time Nick comes back in the podcast, we always say Nick is back. We're just gonna make that. We're just gonna make that a thing now. Yeah. Nick is back.
Yeah. Well, my name's Nick. This is Ethan, as you know.
Yes,
We have Jara sitting on the very corner today, and we have a very special guest, Gershom, joining us today.
Hey guys.
Gershom.
Yeah, Gershom.
Pleasure to be
Ethan
here.
didn't know how to spell his name.
No.
I
don't think a lot of people know how to spell Gershom, actually.
It's okay. So many times.
Yeah. But yeah, I hope you guys had a good New Year's. Oh wait, no, a couple of episodes would have come out already by then. Well, I hope you have a good last week.
Had a nice day.
Yeah.
Woke up well.
Slow decline. Anyway.
He's still feeling it up. He's still
Yeah.
he's warming up.
But how's everybody doing today?
Yeah, good. Doing very well.
Gershom,
Thank
would
you,
you like
Nick.
to introduce yourself?
Hey guys.
Oh yeah.
My name is Gershom. Got asked to be here from Jara.
Yeah.
Really nice to meet you all.
Mm.
Actually, I've known Jara and Nick for a while now.
Okay.
Ethan just met today.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah. Seems like you guys got a good setup here. Listened to a few of your episodes beforehand. Sounds really good.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Yeah.
How was your day, Ethan?
It was a great day. Preparing for my youth camp and all that thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you, Jar?
Yeah, I just kind of sat around all day.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, no, I got my knee tattooed the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
so
that's
it's
fresh. Yeah.
It's looking very swollen, and
Yeah.
it is very hard to walk on.
Yeah.
So
What is that?
it's a food dog. So you know, guardian Chinese dog. You know, this guardian dog. I know it looks a bit scary. It doesn't look like much of a guardian, but let me assure you, it is. Okay, and let me assure you that I'm still Christian. Okay, so yeah, but maybe when it swells down, it'll look a little bit less
How much did
menacing.
it hurt? Like from 1 to 10?
I give it a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Not bad.
It was painful. It was bad, but it wasn't very bad.
Yeah.
I felt worse, but yeah.
Was this one an expensive one?
It
Because it's
was-
pretty big.
It was quite expensive. I didn't expect it to be this big, but what do you know? I have big knees, so gotta pay a bigger price. Yeah,
Oh,
so it is
man.
what it is. But yeah, so I kind of just sat around all day and I watched the Eternals and stuff. So it was pretty unproductive day. But let's get into like what you did today, Gershom. What did you get up to?
What I did today? Oh, not as interesting as you guys, but just went to the office to go to work. Sat down most of the day.
Productive, you know. You gotta put food on the table, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made my way here, and that's pretty much it.
But yeah, what's your occupation?
I actually do structural engineering from Monday to Friday. Yeah.
Oh.
That is pretty intense, eh? But guess what? Gershom also leads a church.
Okay, you know, let him introduce himself.
okay,
Yeah,
well,
come on.
Stealing his thunder like that.
All right. Anyways, back to you, Gershom.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
No, the leading church part is hard to always say. Like, I don't know many people in the same position, but that's not meant to say that I'm in like a really good position. It's just, Monday to Friday, I'd say I do structural engineering, and on the weekends, I'm quite involved with church things. I don't want to really say I'm leading the church because it sounds so like
Yeah.
up there, but no.
Humble.
No, it's good. Yeah, remind everyone to be humble. No, that's good. How do you balance all that? Because, you know, you're married as well. So how do you balance your personal life, work, and church?
Yeah, this is a frequent question I get, and I actually ask myself a lot as well. I think in the first episode that you gave this year, I was listening to that, and you guys said like, you know, those guys that wake up early and do all these things to make sure they get in, and the routine, how it's good.
Yeah.
I think I really needed a routine as well. So usually like mornings is when I wake up and do all the stuff that I need to do for my like evenings. So like anything to do related to church, whether it's preparing for a sermon or anything like that, it's always in the morning between 5:30 and 7 a.m. And then at 7:30 I had to work, come back at 5, and then after 5 it's usually like time with the wife and maybe her family or my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then around 9 o'clock, maybe meet up with someone from church or something like that, or maybe a church meeting, and try to get home and sleep. Yeah, before 11 because I got to wake up early again. And
then
gotta go through that
do it
again.
again. Fair enough.
I like how you fit as much as you can in your day. That's good.
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun. Like
Yeah.
one day feels like 2 days sometimes. But I don't know. I really enjoy the routine. I kind of need the routine.
No,
actually,
I totally agree with that. I think now that I'm on the holidays, because I work in a school and stuff like that, everyone's back at work, but I'm not, right?
Yeah.
But I just feel that lack of routine has kind of thrown me off my zen a little bit. You know, I feel a little bit unhinged.
Oh yeah, that's okay. It's not too late.
But we'll wait for school to
it.
start. Yeah, we'll see how we go. But
yeah.
Well, we wanted to bring you on because I recall one of the conversations that we had before was about finance, and I just remember how passionate you were talking about that, and I have completely, like, I don't know where to start with it, to be honest. I mean, I save. That's all I do.
That's a good start.
That's my finance talk. What do you do financially? I save my money.
Yeah.
But I think that there'll be a lot of insight to come from you, and I think we wanted to touch on things like that I talked about a lot these days, like stocks. You know, people talking about stocks nonstop.
Bitcoin, man.
NFTs.
I don't know,
NFTs or like
bro.
financial freedom as well.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, so like it'd be cool. We'll work our way into those things. I mean, from the boys over here, is there anything that you want to start with asking Gersh? Or
Well, do you have one? If not,
no.
Yeah, because when you brought up that we're going to be talking about finance, it's like such an interesting topic, right? Because go on YouTube, every podcast or every single source you get, it's all finance gurus, everything, right? And even like growing up now, where I realized it's so different from our parents' like generation and us now on how you can think about money and how you earn money is so different. Because back then it's all about you work super hard and grind through your life, then you make a living, family, and then that's it. You pass on what you can to the next generation, right? Now it's like stocks. Every teenager is talking about stocks or crypto
in high school.
or like, you know, I need to invest in houses and like all these different things. And it's like so crazy where if you're trying to get into it, it's so confusing. Right. And I thought like, oh, it's kind of cool that you're super passionate about it, that we can talk about it, because half of our viewers are like kids that are growing up now to university or even like from university to working, and you're just like, how can I save with that much like money or the little money that I have, right? Because I feel like the idea of investing or the idea of getting richer or financially stable is that you would need to get to a certain like level of income first before you can ever get there. So I'm curious what you have to say, but I guess for me, it was just a simple question on like how did you get into it? Or what made you like so interested into all
that's
of
a
it?
really good question to start off, actually. Because I'm not like super knowledgeable on the subject. I just really enjoy talking about it, reading more about it. So I guess I'm just the average person that maybe reads or watches a little too much on the subject.
Yeah, right.
So if anything, I can maybe just act like a filter to some of the stuff that I've read, so you guys don't have to go through everything, or if your listeners don't have to go through everything. But how I started off was basically, my dad grew up in a very poor country, Indonesia. He grew up in a poor family, so he didn't really have any savings. Parents didn't really have much or anything like that. But for the small amounts that they saved up, he managed to study here and there. And then he basically, long story short, came to Australia, still very, very poor, on something like $50 a week income. And I remember like he was telling me about his wedding, how he couldn't pay for anything for his wedding. So someone actually paid for his wedding, and he was like really thankful. And so money was a really like very scarce thing and very hard to get for my dad. But then eventually he started pastoring a church, and obviously the income isn't very high at all. So he just had to keep saving his money. And I remember like whenever I'd get money for my birthdays or anything like that, my dad would be like, oh, put this in the bank straight away. And I remember one time as like an 8-year-old, I got like $100, and I was like, oh, I want to spend this. I can't wait to spend this. And my mom was like, no, we're going to put it straight in the bank. And I just started to think like, oh, okay, saving I guess is good. But over time, my dad was lucky. He met a lot of like businessmen that ended up joining our church. They would send their kids from Indonesia to Perth, and they join our church. And basically their families were quite well off and knew a lot about business, how money worked, how investments worked, and so on. So my dad started to learn and sit with these guys. And then everything he would learn, he would teach me as well. Stuff like, you know, don't make money don't work for money but make money work for you, and like these things felt weird at the time, but over time, like as I got into my teens, my dad would like, oh, here, buy this stock or buy this or buy gold, and I would like, by the time I got to my late teens, I'd have like a little bar of gold and a few stocks here and there, not because I purchased them, but my dad bought it for me. But yeah, over time I started to see how it started appreciating value, and I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. I wonder how all of this works, and yeah, started reading a lot more and started talking to a lot more of my dad's friends, and then before I knew it, I was just keep asking questions, keeps reading, and here I am today talking about it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's how I got into it. Yeah,
that is pretty cool though. Like, do you have any stocks at the moment, Ethan?
Nah, I've been like meaning to get into it because got a lot of
Are all
money
your
in the
friends
bank.
talking about it?
Oh, 100%. They're earning like big bucks.
Yeah.
Are you all
Like,
talking
big
about
bucks.
that daily trading life with stocks
Not
and
often,
crypto
not
and
too much, but I know that their older siblings are super into it.
yeah.
I know that some of them have lost a lot too.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
especially in the crypto.
oh
'cause
my god, yeah,
like
crypto,
you
bro.
lose a lot.
Within an hour, you be a thousandaire,
Yeah.
and then within
Bankrupt.
5 minutes, you will be broke. It's
Yeah.
crazy, man. What about you, Jara?
Well, in stocks.
Yeah, or like anything.
Yeah, I mean, I never really dipped my toes into that just because I felt like I didn't know what it was, and like it felt like gambling to me because I didn't really understand the concept
I
of
remember
it.
feeling
But
that,
that's from my basic understanding of it. It's like, you know, you could be rich one day and you could be down the other. It's like, it just sounds like the cast to me. So I didn't know how to feel about doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with there's when people talk about the stock market or crypto or any sort of these investments, they usually view it more as like a thing to get in and out of and make a quick buck, whether that's like within the next few months or even the next year. But I think when it comes to investing and being sensible with your money, you got to look in a very like long-term view. So you wouldn't invest in things that are maybe might go up in like the next year or a few months. You want to invest in things that are quality, that will actually appreciate, that actually go well with the economy as well and scale with the economy as well. So when you start viewing it like that, it's sort of like this, guys. Each and every one of us most likely have a super fund.
Yeah.
So whether you like it or not, you guys are kind of invested in stocks anyways, because your super fund is likely already investing in stocks, but they're not just investing in one stock, but a whole select few stocks that grow over time. So basically what happens is when you get to the age of 65 and retire, you take out your super money, and it's like a lot more than what was initially there because it's grown over time, because it's a long-term investment.
Okay.
So the idea with buying stocks or maybe crypto or any sort of investment is to look at it in a long-term view, not a 1-2 year or even less than 5 years. I would say, like, at least that's my philosophy. Like, I would look at investments for the years to come. So with that mindset, it kind of changes what you buy or what you.
But I guess that depends on the style of trading that you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like long term, in a sense, like what you were talking about, it's more so for the way I see it. For me, it's like it's just another form of saving.
Yeah.
But then it's like better returns, because if you put in your bank right now, the returns are like bad.
Yeah.
But I guess like when you put in stocks for the long term ones, you're getting bigger returns. Yeah, there's a risk of it going down. Like when COVID hit last year, everything just died.
Yeah.
But it will eventually go back up.
Yeah.
And so then for me, when I was thinking about like long term trading, that's what my mindset was.
Yeah.
It's kind of like long term saving rather than like the short term trading, right? The day to day, or like if you're doing part time where you just like trade more frequent, then you do quicker trades within the days or the weeks.
You definitely got it down there. Like there's trading and there's investing. Trading is more like day to day stuff, what you were saying. But when it comes to investing, there's 3 things you need to like be aware of. The first is like the initial amount that you're investing, so the amount. The second is the time it takes to make that investment grow, and the third one is the rate of return for that investment. So your savings account at a bank is a good way for you to save money and let it grow over time. But the problem is the percentage that you're getting is probably like 0.1, 0.5% per year, which is like nothing. Whereas in the stock market, you can maybe expect 7 to 10% return. Meaning if you've got $1,000 in there every year, you're making $1,100. $100. Now you've got $1,100 at the end of the year. But then the next year, you've got $1,110% of that. So and it just keeps compounding. And before you know it, you've got like hundreds of thousands, maybe millions.
Wow.
So if you can increase the time and if you can increase the percentage, then you're in a really good spot to really set yourself up. So the idea for investing in the stock market is it's a better rate of return than saving in a bank.
Yeah.
And because you're looking at time like 5+ years, you're going to do pretty well over time. Just like a basic thing.
Yeah. Do you have any rules before you get into like trading? So like for example, like minimum bank account that you should always have, or percentages in your spendings and your pay and stuff that you would invest in?
Yeah, for sure. So like, I think what a lot of people do is maybe budget, try to limit how much they're spending and how much they're saving, those kind of things. I prefer to go off like a rule of how much do you actually normally spend over a month, and then save that amount times 6, so you can live 6 months without your income or job or whatever it is. Like let's say you need $1,000 a month to live, including rent and maybe not mortgage, that's too cheap for mortgage, but like rent and food and petrol, all those things. If it's $1,000 a month, save that for 6 months. So now you've got $6,000, and now every single thing that you earn, you can just pretty much invest that for the long term. And then if somehow you lose your job, somehow something happens, you can still live for the next 6 months. But if you want to like be more safe, you can always add like an emergency fund where you've got extra stuff for, I don't know, get hit by a car, car breaks down, something like that. But essentially, you should have like a certain amount that you're saving so you can live. And then the rest is just keep investing, and that's pretty much it. And the thing is, like, it's snowballing. So your investments can pay you your income at the end of the day. So by the time, that's why you get those stories of people at 30, or maybe not 30, but 40 or in their mid-50s already like retired, because they've been investing this whole time, and they're pretty much paying their salary. Their $1 million investment in stocks is paying them $40,000-$50,000 a year without them doing anything.
That is the dream, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the dream.
So that was for like people who are like working and like living independently, right? But for like, let's say like kids like me who still like living with the parents, would you say just go for it? Like,
dude, that's even a better place. That's a better position, because like if you think about it, your living expenses are close to zero. I mean, it's really good position to be in, and it's actually quite lucky. That means like every dollar that you earn can literally just be invested, unless you have like one goal that you're trying to save for, like a house or something like that. But even buying a house, I think it might be better to invest in the stock market
instead of a house.
Instead of a house.
But yeah. So like, how do you like? I guess from like other people always asking us like, what do you like? Invest in, or like what do you trade?
This is a good question, because I think when we think about stocks, you can think about the gambling thing and what goes down and stuff. So this part may be helpful, because what we want to invest in is things called index funds. So index funds are pretty much like a tracker that tracks a group of stocks. So if I were just to invest in one stock, if that company went bust or didn't do well, then all my money's gone, or I've lose a lot of my money. But if I invest in 2 companies, then maybe it's a bit better. But if I invest in like say 100 companies, that's even better. It's called being diversified in your stocks. So the strategy is to buy an index fund that tracks a group of stocks that appreciate over time, because what's guaranteed to happen is population grows, economy grows, innovation grows, efficiency grows. All these things will go up with time, and when you can capture that with companies that innovate and do well in those things, you basically can capture those gains. So a standard index is called like a S&P 500. You might have heard of it. It tracks pretty much like the top 500 stocks in the US. So if you were to buy the S&P 500, let me try not to get too technical, because I'm trying to I'm seeing your faces you guys seem pretty scared.
Don't look good.
So looking around gauging the audience.
S&P,
So imagine the top 500 companies in America. Now, if you could have a stock in every single one of those, then over time, those companies will do better and better and better, and you get to own a bit of everything and basically earn over time with it as well. And how it works is, if one of those companies doesn't perform that well, and like another company does really well, it gets put into the S&P 500, and then the other one falls out. So then it only tracks the top 500 over time. So over the long term, you're only getting the best of the best over the years. which basically means if you invest in that, you're always gonna get more on your investment over time. Like in the long term, that is long term. Short term, you might see companies go bust in here and there, but or economy or coronavirus. But long term, like it's always going to increase at roughly an average of 7%, like historically, 7 to 10%.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know how you even like get into it. So like, how would you
get started?
Just even trade. Just like, are there apps for it? Are
Yeah,
like
there's a few.
and everything.
There's a lot of apps. So I'm not sure how you guys know about how to buy stock yet or not.
No clue.
I think Nick's the only one here that plays around with stocks.
I feel like it just depends where you're at, right?
Yeah.
Like in Australia, you have certain banks that do certain apps like here and there. Because like for me, I use a couple just because of work and things like that. But then for me, the main ones I use is like ComSec because I'm close with that. But then you also get Self-Wealth. But then you also got Stake, which is American stocks.
Correct.
So it's just like different.
You know your stuff.
I've been trying to get into it. Oh, well, I always have been interested in it. But I felt like I had to stop a bit because it kind of took me on a spiral. Which I will talk about later, I guess. But but then So I guess apps wise, I feel like there's just so many. It's just finding which ones you like.
So
in my
so you've got platforms, and they're pretty much just like brokers. Like they're the guys that you get on, and then you basically give the money to them to buy the stock, and then you own the stock. In the old days, you would have someone that actually like you'd have to call, and then they have to buy the stock for you. But this one is just like all automated on a platform, and you buy your stocks through the brokers. You can go any broker. You can go ComSec, you can go NAB, or you can use Self-Wealth, Stake, all these things. And what you're basically looking for is just the cheapest transaction, like the cheapest way to buy stocks. Because some of them charge like $20 to buy a stock, some charge $3, some charge almost nothing, those kind of things. So you want to get the lowest fee, and then buy a stock, and it's yours, and then that's
So what's your loadout, Gershom? Because it's like watching on YouTube best builds, right? So what's your build at the moment, so people can know how to do the Gershom build? You know,
the Gershom
the
build.
meta.
Okay,
it only makes sense if you play games. What Josh just said.
I'm sure most people get it.
I mean, so to buy those index funds, you got to buy them on the stock exchange, and they're packaged in a thing called ETFs. ETFs you can pretty much buy on a stock exchange just like any other stock. So these are the two stocks that I normally buy. They're VGS. So that's the ticker symbol if you go on the platform and type it in. That basically tracks the top 1,500 companies globally, minus Australia. So you've got like 65% in the States, and then the rest are like Russia, Europe, Japan, all these other countries. And then the other stock that I buy is VAS, which is the top 300 companies in Australia. The reason why I like the Australian ones is because they pay a good amount of dividends. Are you guys familiar with dividends?
Nope.
It's like gains, right?
So there's two ways you can make money off stocks. One is like the price goes up, and then
you sell.
Obviously got money from there. The second is that the companies actually pay out their shareholders cash, like excess cash, and then it just goes into your pocket. So Australian shares, most people like them because they pay a lot of dividends to their shareholders.
Oh wow, interesting.
So that's how you can have like $1 million worth of stocks and get $40,000 a year just doing nothing.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
So when you buy stocks, do you buy a percentage of it, or like I don't know how it works? Like
so there's a price for each stock, and you buy like the whole stock as itself. But I think some platforms now start to divide stocks, so you can even buy like half a share or a full share, or a 3/4 of a share, that kind of thing.
Maybe that's advanced, eh?
But I think if you want to go further on it, like rather than me try to explain to you and you try to make sense of it, maybe you can just search like ETF investing, and then there's so many resources out there that are quite good.
Do you think there's an ideal age to start, or you can kind of just start whenever?
Oh, dude. So Warren Buffett, like one of the greatest investors out there, he started trading, I think, he started investing when he was 12,
and he regrets
investing
behind.
too late. He says like, he said he bought his first stock when he was 12, and he's like, oh, I wish I invested earlier. And I think that just captures the whole like, your investments really, really grow with time. Like time is one of the biggest factors to grow. Like, let's say you start investing now, Jara, and then 10 years later, I start investing the same amount, or maybe even double your amount. You could potentially have more than me over 5 years after that. Like, time is like a really, really big factor.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
I should have pulled my numbers up, but I think that would be too nerdy.
so yeah, for someone my age now, someone that hasn't touched stocks. Yeah. There's no harm in. I mean, of course, like might as well, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should be comfortable with like where the money's going, rather than just like, oh, because Gershom said so, it sounds cool. Try your best, and I'm happy to like answer more questions or even like give perspective. Because once you're confident with that, like it's easy to put in most of your salary once you've built up a nice like savings to stocks or other investments that you find.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
But like, so I guess going back, because I might sound stupid here, but it's like, how does like the cash come in? Does that make sense?
From the stocks or from like your living?
I guess from the stocks as well.
So are you asking how to pocket that money?
Yeah, I guess so. Like, do you just sell it? Do you just sell the stock?
It's literally buy and sell.
You just buy and sell stock pretty much.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're buying index funds, you're not actually planning to sell it until you really need it, which is like when you're
because then it'll be at its oh, okay.
Because the idea is you earn enough money to make your backup savings, that 6 months living thing, and then after that you make enough money just to live off that month, and the excess just all gets invested. It just keeps going like that until the day you decide, I don't want to work anymore. And then you realize your investments have grown to a point that it can pay you off like your living expenses your month to month, and that's when you know you're financially free. When your investments can pay your daily expenses.
Oh, fair enough.
When did you start investing, and when do you see yourself retiring?
Oh man, it's a good question.
Wow.
So
That's deep.
I started. It's hard to say exactly when, because my dad technically started it for me, and then I saw it and I just kept picking it up.
So 12 as well.
Yeah, he wants it earlier, man.
Well, I didn't make that conscious decision. My dad did. But I started off maybe consciously when I was 19.
Okay.
19, I started my vacation work, and a guy from work actually told me about these ETF things, and then I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense with my investing philosophy. Let me continue to go into that, and then just kept investing, and in terms of when would I retire, I've been thinking about it a lot, man. Because to be fair,
now.
Like,
2022 is his year.
It was like end of last year. I was like, oh man, I think I'm gonna quit the engineering thing. Hey, like, I could probably keep going with like church and just help out more. And I feel like I can pick up something on the side and continue investing and live off. And I was that's what I was thinking. But I think in terms of an age, I'm not sure, because I don't have kids yet. We're getting a puppy at the end of this month, so I think the expenses are starting to rise. So I really don't know. I can't confidently say.
Okay, fair enough. That's cool. That's cool.
But I did have a goal for myself to make like by the time I was 40 to only have half my income from my workplace and the other half for investments.
I see.
I want to talk more about NFTs. Like, what's that all about? That's a new thing that's rising recently. From my understanding, it's like trading cards. It's kind of like Pokemon cards.
Unique things. And then I know kind of a bit about it. I know there's like a thing called gas fees. So it's like you have to pay a certain amount to either sell the NFTs or like put it up somewhere. And like,
could you technically make your own NFT?
Yeah, you can.
It's actually like it's pretty easy.
So
like,
it's good for like digital artists and stuff.
Yeah, it's super good.
Really
it's
good.
Like the industry is just wide open, and so many people can enter it now and monetize it.
Some of my mates have got a lot of money.
I know. I've heard a lot of people have accumulated a lot of wealth from that, but doesn't it seem a bit silly? You know what I mean? Like, why
it's overhyped at the moment.
Spending so much money on
it will pop one day, and then that's it. Do you hear about the guy that took a photo of himself for 400 days in a row or something? No, 4 years. For a long period of time, right? Every single day, he took a photo of himself and he sold it all as NFTs, and he got about close to $1 million.
Oh,
nice.
Just people will pay for it. It's
start now.
Start taking photo of every single podcast we do.
Yeah.
Nah. NFTs are crazy. But anyways.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on NFTs?
I mean, I haven't really dove into it that much, but in terms of like cryptocurrencies and so on and blockchain technology, those things are like I'm very, very interested in. It's a space that I really enjoy. And then when NFTs came about, like it was really good, and then suddenly all these like influencers or YouTubers or whoever it is like start to really get into it, and overhype it to a point that maybe like people think it's like the easiest way and biggest way to make money, which maybe some methods, but it's not consistent. It doesn't really go with my philosophy. But it's definitely an interesting space. Like there's definitely still money to be made in NFTs. There's still a lot to learn about it as well. Yeah. There's like do you guys roughly know how NFTs work?
Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah.
So like in there's a I don't want to get too technical again, but basically there's a blockchain, and this blockchain, like you have your cryptocurrencies and they're all pretty much the same. They're all minted the same. Yeah. But in this blockchain, you can create a unique like crypto in itself, or a unique token, but that token is then NFT, is like a non-fungible token, because all these other tokens, they're fungible, meaning they're all like the same. Like if I give you $1, we're all like got the same dollar, but if I were to stamp it with a unique code, then that's an NFT, because it's like that unique thing. So only one person can ever own it, but everyone knows that person owns it because it's on this blockchain that everyone has available in front of them, like a ledger. So you can actually have, you might have heard of like the metaverse and people like buying and selling property online, because those properties are NFTs. They're like your land deed or land rights, and you can like hold on to it. You can build casinos on that land, and people can actually like bet money on the land, and then if they lose, then you get the money, and then that money gets transferred straight to whoever's holding their NFT in their wallet. So you can just it's a whole new world out there, but it's it's really really interesting. But that's also scary because there's a lot of unknowns here.
Damn, I miss the times where in the ancient world they just hunt for food. They gave the food, they got the coin. Nice and easy, you know. I'm living in the wrong time.
I don't know. It's pretty interesting sometimes, though. Pretty interesting.
No, that's cool. Did you ever were you tempted to put in a little bit into GameStop when that was a hype thing?
Nah, I think I was really persistent with my investment philosophy, where it's more of a long-term thing. Like if I ever got into that, like I think it would violate that philosophy. And I'm not gonna lie, there's been other opportunities where I have like got into stuff like that, and I was like, oh, this is why I shouldn't have like, because investment's all about long-term, and as soon as you start breaking that, you can spiral downwards and all these things as well. Like there's this famous quote that Warren Buffett says about the stock market. He says the stock market is a wonderful instrument or tool to transfer wealth from the impatient to the patient. If we can look at investing as the long-term thing, then you are definitely going to win and make a lot from there. But a lot of too many people, too many influencers, too many young guys these days are like, oh, I can make this much in this amount of time. Like that's not really investing.
It does seem like crypto's like easy cash, quick cash, you know.
It's also a cash. I mean, it's also a scam in some regard, because like people can make that and then run away with the money, right? I heard something happen like with one cryptocurrency recently.
Crypto
a
owners
lot of people put their money in there and then they dipped. And
they're called rug pools, actually. Not that I've been involved in one, but
some stocks lingo.
The Gersh coin.
There's actually
Gersh coin.
So I was saying?
No, there's a crypto called ONG, which is my last name.
There you go.
But that's not mine. It's not mine. No.
So do you know about crypto?
I only really got into it maybe at the end of 2020.
So you own some?
Yeah. I've like honestly, got some crypto, but I feel like it's more the blockchain technology that I'm really rooting for more than just like Bitcoin or anything like that. But Bitcoin is a big part of the blockchain.
Yeah, because you need, for like NFTs, I'm pretty sure you need like Ethereum.
You do need Ethereum, but NFTs can be built on different blockchains itself.
True.
Yes. So I don't want to get into it too much.
All right.
Well, did you? I guess moving slightly away from your investment side of things, but more, I guess your thought process of, have you ever dipped into like, I guess, short-term trading then? Or do you find that a little bit more risky? Because you mentioned earlier about like your philosophy going like investment, it's a long-term thing. Then what are your thoughts on like the whole short-term thing, or about kids these days, or people like, you know, looking towards like a more daily trade, or like you trade more often, try to get more cash and go that way?
To be fair, that's like a whole different game to investing. That's more of like a skill, or I don't know what to really call it, but I wouldn't.
It's you know what, it reminds me of Maple Story. It reminds me of
I've played Maple Story so
what's
much.
it called? No, what's the term for it? It was like marketing.
They
even call it marketing. Where they would always buy a scroll. And then sell it for more, then buy it again, and
they just keep doing that.
It's like that, right?
Yeah, so there's traders as well that do that. They're called like money makers, market makers. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, so they help provide liquidity in the market.
Yeah, right. Wait, curious though, did you get rich in Maple Story? Because I never did.
I wouldn't say rich, but I think I made a decent amount. Yeah.
Give us some numbers.
I think it was like 300 million maces.
There you go, guys. Yeah, it works, guys.
300 million what?
This guy has been investing for a while.
This is the maple money.
I can't believe I remember that. That's not even something I remember.
No, you would. It's a milestone. If I earned that much in Maple Store, I would remember that. I would.
Yeah, until you get hacked, you know, and then you just wake up, your account's naked.
Yeah, you wake up in the free market in some random space. No clothes on.
And you only have like underwear on. You're like, bro.
That was every kid's nightmare. In that game, walking on, hoping not to see that.
Yeah, Maple Story was good.
But because I think now, like when we speak about like influencers or just pretty much everyone, right? You have this thought about retiring young, and then just living the way you want to, enjoying life, because that's the big thing now, right? Now it's all about, you know, how you feel, work-life balance, like balancing what you want to do, retire, all that stuff, where you put it like 10-20 years back, no one even talks about that, because all about grinding hard.
True.
So then nowadays you get so many people where my TikTok, half of it is investing stuff, or like, you know, these influencers or guys telling you, invest in this is going to blow up in the next like 6 months and stuff. And then you get kids, or you get a lot of people that keep going into that, and then you just never know what to read, what to do. So like I mentioned earlier about like my spiral thing, right? So it was because of COVID. I had nothing to do. I was just like, let's just invest, because I've always been super interested in investing. But then now at the same time, I know that like for me, like my whole life I've thought about going to corporate, working, like earn a lot of money, and then invest, and then just live comfortably. But then now twist, you know, I want to work for church, blah blah blah, money ain't there. So then now it's like I'm in this pressure zone where I'm like late 20s now. Okay, mid 20s. heading to late.
It's dead set 20s, man.
But then it's like, now I'm just like, man, everyone around my age, everyone that's telling me, it's like invest, do this, get rich. And then it's that pressure of like, I need to be financially sound to be able to enjoy life, because like money runs the world now in every single thing, right? So then the whole short-term trading thing comes in, where you're like, maybe I can do this, and earn more money.
It depends how you define rich, because we think rich is like, you know, you got $200 million or whatever, like you can afford this and this and that. Not exactly. Like there's a really good book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It's a really, really good book, but it basically defines you're pretty much rich when your investments can pay for your daily living expenses, where you don't actually have to work at all. How do you get to that point? You can either invest a lot and it pays so much that it covers all your living expenses, or you can actually invest a lot still, but live very minimally, so your daily expenses are actually really small. Like, and then technically you're already rich because your investments are paying that. So if the whole idea of like living like minimally but investing smart is to achieve that. Like, rich isn't in the terms of like mansions and Lamborghinis, but being able to do what you really want without being constrained by finances. And I think people focus too much on earning a lot, investing so much and all these big returns, but don't focus too much on living minimally, asking yourself what you actually really need, what you don't need. Because technically to be fair, every one of us like could be rich, are rich because we can live very minimally, and even earning like minimum wage at Macca's, whatever, it's already enough to invest and have over time, you know, let that pay off you.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's just the whole concept of
Yeah,
the influencer life, you know,
it's hard, man.
because that's all we see, right?
Yeah.
Like everywhere we go now, like everybody's so into investing now. It's such a big thing because you have access to that now, right? With apps and things where it's so easy to literally drop $1,000 and then that's it, you know. But back then you got to do the call, you got to do all this stuff.
Yep.
But now it's just like it's like a click away, like everything is. So then you get that where. Like, I guess I found myself in that trap where I've always understood, like, investing. Because same thing, my parents, my family, like, they all came from very poor backgrounds. So then I see them at home where it's like, oh, whenever they do groceries, it's like buying things that are only on sale or, like, the cheaper stuff where they would never just buy proper standard brands and things that other families would do or my friends. And so then in that mindset, it's like, oh, man, I got to grind or find a way to get more money so then I can live comfortably where I don't have to, like, look at my parents and think about, oh yeah, I buy the minimal stuff, I buy the cheap stuff, we save, you know? Because they're definitely in a position where they can definitely live more comfortable, but it's like the mindset that they're like, oh man, we still got to go. But then when you brought up the whole, maybe what they're doing, that minimal lifestyle, is actually a good way to live as well. Not necessarily.
I'd argue that's like the best way to live, man.
But
I mean, that's literally my own
caveman
view.
style. Okay.
Caveman style. But like, yeah, like you can count the amount of clothes you have, or you can count the amount of possessions you have, and like the stuff that you eat. Like it's not like every day you're eating out and these kind of things. Like you can live totally fine, and then you don't have to worry about this extravagant life that everyone's painting on the social media.
Yeah. But yeah, because I guess I'll share a little bit with my spiral. What happened was like, I think I felt so pressured because I mean, I really liked the stuff, but on the other side, I also realized that like, I love gambling. Okay, not gambling.
Let's confess our sins.
I love the risk of things, like the potential, right? So like
the rush.
Yes, you know. So then because it was COVID and stuff, everyone was talking about it. I wanted to find different ways I can earn an income, right? Because the way that I always thought is like, I want to do so much for church, but I can only do that if I have enough to kind of get me going, which is so wrong. But like, you know, Jesus kind of helped me change that mindset a little bit. Just a little bit. So then, like, during COVID, because you weren't talking to people, you weren't going out much, you're like, what do I do? So I was reading every single day. It was like 20 videos or articles of, like, investing, what to do. So then I learned about, like, currency trading. I learned about crypto. I learned about, like, everything. So then you got your index stocks and things like that, right? But then I thought to myself, oh man, it's too long. You know, like by the time I get the money, I'm dead. You know, so then like, okay, like 60 something. Okay, yeah, but like, you know, I can't like, yeah. But then I was like, what? Surely there is a way it can be quicker, right? Because people around me or friends, I want to retire by 30, 40, like things like that. So then I remember I started like day trading in like currency and crypto.
Oh, nice.
So like at a point for both of them, I actually earned about 10 grand in a week. But then I got so into it that I started putting riskier like positions in all of them. And then I lost like 8 grand in like a day. Damn. And then I cried a little bit. Then I spent the 2 grand on shoes, you know. So
zero came out with nothing.
You got good shoes at least.
But yeah, but I remember at that moment I like stopped myself where I told myself that like if I do investments, it has to be long term. Or you would need like boundaries, like strong boundaries, because anyone that says I'm just doing this so I can be, you know, day by day, little bit by little bit, and eventually save, like it's a trap, you know, because when the money comes, it like it's so hard to just like, oh my god, you stop now, right? You keep going, and then boom, all the money gone.
You're a fiend for it.
Yeah, it's just so nice when you see the green.
Crackheads for the stock. Stockheads.
But yeah, have you ever had any like losses like that, or any times early on when you tried go into it that you had losses like that?
Not. Oh yeah. Okay, there is one time. Actually.
Oh yeah. Right.
So I mean, aside from like index funds in the short term, you'll always see maybe some dips, and you'll be like, oh no, that sounds really bad, like COVID, like oh you lost like half your portfolio, but then now it's like back to double it if you had invested at that time. But aside from those expected investment outcomes. There was one stock that I was really like interested in, and I was like, oh, I read this on Monthly Fools or something. It's like the best stock that's gonna grow so much this year. So I put like my money into that, and then it went up like 17%. And I was like, oh, this is good. Like I'm so good at this. Like, why did I bother with that long trading stuff? Yeah, and today it's like half the amount that I put in. Like I never got that money back, so I cut my losses this year and put into something else more sensible.
Yeah, it is scary, man.
Yeah. So wait, you buy, it's like the rule, right? You buy when it's low and then you sell when it's high. Is that the rule?
But that's more day trading, not so much day trading.
Yeah, that's more
not the investment side of things.
Yeah, for long term, you literally just buy it and then you just keep it because that investment should pay you off while you decide to stop working.
Because it's always going to be
It's always just going to keep paying you off. Yeah, it'll just keep going up over the long term. Literally, when you don't want to work anymore, then you can start taking it out small bits by bits, and that's a whole different other topic, like how to withdraw from your investments to live off it.
Yeah, I guess that's what's nice about these long-term investments, where when you put it in there, you don't really check it. Like for me, I find like I just every couple of months I'll put in a bit and then I just leave it aside, and then eventually over time when you check it once in a while, you're like, oh wow, it's decent money.
Like finding like $5 in your pocket.
Like that's like the best. Yeah, when you clear up your wardrobe and it's like $20. Yes,
that's the best feeling.
that kind of feeling. Like that's how I view it in terms of because you have it in your bank account and then you're spending expenses, but you also got this second point of saving that you just forget about, but it's there. I guess that's how I view it in terms of the long-term investments as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So wait, was there like I don't know, I kind of heard it was like a Christian and non-Christian kind of perspective about stocks.
Yeah. Or even just with money and investing in general. Like you can get the reason why it's hard to get out of the short-term trades, even if you've made a lot or even if you've lost and you just want to keep making up those gains, is because money's it's very hard to not be emotional when it comes to money. When it comes to like, this is yours and this is your gains. I think when we look at it too much and be like, money is like everything to me, that's when it starts to consume you. And this is where the Christian perspective really helps as well, because the Christian perspective of money, it's literally just seeds to sow into God's kingdom. Like,
come on,
these aren't things for your own gain. They're to be sown, and anything that reaps from it isn't necessarily supposed to be more money, but just to help God's kingdom. And I think when we view money too highly and the most important thing in life, it's so easy to like, I go spiral down and actually lose life itself. But if you can give that away, and or just think about it as like, this is God's money in the first place. I just want to be a faithful steward to it. I just want to be a responsible steward. And any money that at the end of the day I want to like sow it back into God's kingdom. That it takes off the burden of like, oh gosh, like it's up to me to make this grow. Like it's up to me to make this like. You do the best that you can in terms of like understanding and investing well, but then from there, like you just trust, like it's not even yours to begin with. It's not yours to like reap the benefits at the very end. But see what God gives and takes.
Do you think investing all that time gives you a bit more like reassurance in regard? Because like for someone that's not investing, I feel the pressure sometimes. I even get a bit, before I go to bed, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be homeless, Like, So, like, do you think investing kind of helps with that the Christian perspective and stuff as well?
Kind of. Like, I can't speak for everyone here because I've only lived a certain path that I can't relate to every single one. But I think I'm at a point where, like, not because I have so much money, but I'm at a point where, like, money doesn't mean much to me. Like, it's just something that, like, helps buy stuff and I guess helps with certain things in life, but it's not the thing to gain or to grow or to like really, I don't know, surround my life or center my life on. And I think when you get to that point, it feels like you're only working because you like the job, not because you needed to pay off that mortgage or you needed to live this excessive lifestyle or this hope that you will get to this extravagant lifestyle. But when you invest, like you're really saying like, I look for the long term. Like you learn how to be patient. You learn how to like not live for the extravagant life now. And the things that you can control is just minimizing what you spend on so you can invest more. So you just like decrease what but you just like, oh, it'll be okay. Like, Yeah.
It's dope.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, because I guess the biggest thing about investing, it's one thing that I've learned is like speaking to different people. It's more do it if you're comfortable with it. Like even though if it's like people say it's good and like you should do this, should do that. I think if like you aren't too sure, then take your time. Like like read up, maybe do whatever you need to do to feel comfortable to do it, rather than feel pressure, because you don't know what. Even if people tell you, oh yeah, I have like few thousand and this and that, you never know whether it's like their parents giving them the money, or do they actually even have that amount in it, or we don't even know how much they've lost by doing all their random
people
stuff.
like to talk about the good
stuff. Like they never really show, because
Yeah,
because I guess like when I work with people talk to me about it. It's like if their stocks and everything is going so well, like they're talking about it, right? They wouldn't be working with me still, you know, in my current job, or like doing this or doing that. Like if it's doing so well, like they.
Yeah, why are you still here?
Yeah, you know? But I guess it's like I think the way I see it, where what helps me with my own investments, it's like I learn from what people tell me, but then it's like I just go at my own pace, you know. How much money I have, I do that. Even though some of these guys have like triple my amount at like younger than me or my age, it's like, you know, at least I'm comfortable with what I invest in and what I know. Then at least it's there. Because for any of you guys that are thinking of like investing, it's more like just learn what you can. Like obviously we are not financial gurus, so don't take our
neither am I. This is not financial advice.
It's just more our journeys in terms of it. But then it's like like do what you're comfortable with, because everywhere you go now, you listening to this podcast, your Instagram and stuff probably going to come up with investment stuff now. But it's just that learn what you can and get a good understanding of it before stepping into it, because it can make you lose money too if you don't know what you're doing.
So like someone saying that, how, like, what is the, do you have any like maybe book recommendations, or just like videos, or just in general, how do you like learn, I guess, and like maybe even like once you learn, kind of maintain, because I did kind of hear that the best way to like do stocks and all that is to be like updated with like the company, or like maybe accounts and everything, that like maybe give updates and everything.
In terms of books, like I definitely recommended that book that I said before, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. That just gives you an idea of like the investing mindset and like why you should look at investments in this certain ways, and look at assets more as a priority compared to liabilities, all these things. There's a really good practical one that's written by an Australian author named The Barefoot Investor. I forgot the author's name, Scott, I think his name is.
Scott
that one.
Morrison.
Scott, no, Scott Morrison. But it's a really good practical book in terms of like what you should be aiming for with your super, with your mortgage, all these things, if you're interested in that. I don't agree with all of the stuff, but it's a very good starting point. In terms of like keeping up to date with stocks, that's the beauty of like investing in index funds, because you're literally just investing into a index fund that invests in the top 500 or 300 stocks, and it just does it for you like the whole time. Like you don't really have to read up about it or time it per se. Like you just there's a term called dollar cost average in, which is literally just means buying in consistently over time, because it just keeps going up.
Oh, dope. Anything else, guys?
Well, I guess the one thing that you kind of mentioned earlier that we didn't get the chance to really touch in is like, what do you mean when you said about like financially free?
Oh
yeah, no, that's a good one.
Like I guess like, you know, maybe the term speaks for itself, where you just free
Mm.
financially do whatever.
It's like you answer your question.
But I guess I mean, you obviously would have more understanding on that. Because we all could have different definitions, but like what would be yours?
So there's this whole movement called the FIRE movement. You might have heard of it. It pretty much just stands for financially independent, retire early. It's the whole idea that like you work, but then you keep investing, and over time you get financially independent, which is where your investments can pay off your living expenses, and you can retire early. I don't really agree with the retire early part, but basically what it's trying to say is that you can live in a way where you prioritize what you really want to do in life, and you don't be constrained by the finances. And that's really what I define as financial freedom. So if you want to say pastor a church, or if you want to volunteer with kids, or whatever your life's passion is, or draw, continue this podcast for like the entire life, your entire life, whatever it may be, like whatever your passions is, like you live in such a way so you just enjoy the things. And what you realize is things that are really worth enjoying in life don't actually require a lot of money. And I think people don't really get that. People like the Lamborghinis and the whatever, the flashy life. But if you really want to enjoy life, like having good friends, having a wonderful community like this church you guys are in, like that doesn't cost anything at all. But if you can earn just a small amount, invest, but then live in a way that you prioritize what matters most in life, then you can set yourself up for financial freedom and live that way from day one. Like you don't have to wait till you're 65. Like the idea that we have to work so hard, pay off a mortgage, and then wait till we're 65, then finally enjoy life. That's absurd to me. Like I don't understand that at all. Why can't we live that way from day one? Like especially, like I know not everyone has this opportunity, but at least us, like here in Perth, Australia, like we're definitely well within our means to live, like to do what we really want. It doesn't cost that much money.
And oh, sorry, you go.
No, I was just gonna say I really like what you said.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I guess it's like a mindset thing that we all have to learn to kind of switch, right? Because there's so much access to, like you said, all the nice stuff, you know, that we would want. But that's not necessarily what it means to have a great life or to enjoy what you actually can have and do, right? It's just we forget about the small things that actually make life kind of good, like the people around you, the environment you're in, all that, because we focus so much on all the stuff we can buy or the things we can do with the money, but we forget. And I guess that's where it feels like we're a little bit poorer, or like we just don't get that privilege to do that. And I think that's where the concept of investing or getting rich quick comes from, I guess.
Dude, like the best things in life to enjoy fully, like truly enjoy in life, they cost almost nothing, like a friendship or like God's grace, like that costs nothing. Like the best things to enjoy in this life, they cost close to nothing or are free. So like we spend so much of our time like desiring like the big extravagant stuff, but once we get out of that, we're so free to just continue working at Macca's or whatever. I cannot give you. Look, I love people working at Macca's.
You really at Macca's?
I'm so sorry.
You used to work at Macca's?
No, I used to work at IGA.
Okay, close enough.
I could use IGA instead.
So I mean that is something that I guess a lot of us really like need to think about, because I guess just the concept about living minimal. I feel like that's the biggest thing that I really took out of this whole conversation today, about learning to really think about what I actually need rather than what I want. To be able to just like change my perspective on life a little bit, to be able to enjoy it. And I hope you guys all watching us today like also kind of grab that. But if you want to invest in stocks, do it anyways. We love a little bit investment.
I mean, I was just saying off camera just before that now I feel really inspired to start in stocks. So you might see me in that scene.
I'll interview you next time.
Jar has invested in
Jar's like profile pictures like an NFT.
Yeah, you see the NFT, like Gyro.
$10,000.
Gyro is a crypto
the
coin.
Gyro NFT.
It's been great having you on here.
No, it's been a pleasure to be here, guys.
Thank you so much.
We really appreciate it, man. But as always, do you have any last words to say before we close it up, Gershom or Jar or Ethan, I guess?
Well, I mean, remember that it's a patient game, and take your time. It's what's necessary, not what you want, that kind of thing, right? Like, as I'm trying to recap, there's a lot of things going through my mind right now.
NFTs right now.
Thinking of a design.
Well, I like what he said. Is like the best things in life are free, and you know, once you like have that mindset, it's like money just becomes so like not important in you anymore. Like, I think that more things are valuable than money for sure in this life.
For sure. Well, thanks again, Gershom. Appreciate you being here.
But
what we like to say around here is stay fresh. So
Yep.
Can
we get a stay fresh from you, Gershom?
Oh yeah, stay fresh, guys.
You heard it here first. And as always, don't forget to ring the bell on YouTube, subscribe.
Share
keep
that
up.
podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Watch out Instagram, and much love.
All right, peace, guys.
Cool.
Thank you.
Peace.
Yes, sir.